Is there something you want to ask me right now that I've given you all this information in 15 minutes?
I'm trying to...
Go.
I thought I knew what I'm doing. I'm trying, if you could reiterate on the authorship and publisher. What are we talking, mechanicals and
yeah.
syncs, or what?
The mechanical royalties are when you get a deal done and someone somewhere puts it out as a product, be it a file that's coming down through the internet, a piece of vinyl or a CD. And in the United Kingdom, in the European Economic Community, the law states, if you and I write a song, right, and it's on a record and they're pressing up 3,000 of those records, X amount of money, it's immediately tallied, has to come to you within whatever it is. I can't remember the thing right now. And that's the law. And they can't put it in the high street shops or the little whatever independent shops are left. They can't put it in there in theory without us getting a check in the pipeline. I mean, that'll be in the shops before you get your money. But you know what I mean? Right. The ball is rolling that you and I would get our dough for having written this tune. Right. That is how that works in Europe. And I don't know how it works in North America right now because I've been here 18 years raising a family. I'm not exactly sure what the deal is in the States. But what you have to do to get out is if somehow you could get a deal, we can talk about this a bit, or you can form your own company. What you then do is you have somehow or another you're getting published. Just we can get to that in a minute. What you then do is you register these people called PPL. And I'm so embarrassed right now I can't remember what it stands for. But I'm sure one of those P's is publishing. Anyway, you get registered with PPL, and they look after all the sort of legal and technical side of things. Your publisher, and the reason you need one, what they do is they go out and get your dough. They go out and get your money for you, and on their behalf as well, right? Well, I've lost my deals because I didn't write any hit records. I've lost my deal with all these Major League, Premier League people. I don't have one. I have my own publishing company now. And it is, what is the verb? It begins with the letter A. When it's taken care of by people called Bug Music Ltd, who are in W4. And what Bug Music are, is they are a publisher, yes, but they take, the original was these guys called the Burgoyce Brothers in LA formed this wonderful company thinking, here we are in the middle of Hollywood, they were song publishers for someone else, they formed their own company, here's their trip. All these guys in Hollywood, all these men and women have had something to do with songs, right? And yet they've fallen out of favor with the top level players in the way that I didn't get to be a cover boy on NME and all that stuff, right? So they scooped all of us up and said, for 10% of your publishing, we'll get your money from around the world. And it's a great deal. So I now have reverted back to, now that I'm not in the Premier League anymore, I've reverted back to these people called Bug Music. There's other companies besides Bug. And they literally send me a statement 4 times a year that breaks down as songwriter and as what the publishing was. They take 10% and they go around the world and get your dough. Now for some ridiculously far-flung territories they take 50%. But that means I get 50% of something. Because I have no idea how to get my money out of, say, the Turkish nation. I just picked them out of ad. Nothing against the Turkish nation. I don't know what's going on in Turkey. I mean, I don't have an attorney in Ankara or Constantinople. I have no idea what's going on in Istanbul, you know. So that's the deal. So that's how people like me, I couldn't exist on my publishing, but I'd hate to think it left me. Some years are better than others. So there is, you know, light at the end of the tunnel just because you're not writing songs for Take That. You know, if you even got an independent deal, you could get your songs taken care of by somebody like Bug Music. There's another one called the Harry Fox Agency. You can look that one up tonight. Bug is B-U-G, Music Ltd. There's another one called the Harry Fox Agency, and they're out of New York, but they're over here as well. And there's some other ones, but I don't really know their names because I never mess with them. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. But the bottom line is, once someone wants to do something with one of your songs, you have to have this publishing taken care of some way, somehow. And it would even be better that you signed a horrible deal and got like 10% than didn't have any deal. Because believe me, that
nothing.
Yeah, you get 100% of nothing's bad. And this money falls through the cracks, right? I'm taken care of. So I get these statements. In the old days, they sent them to you on a piece of paper. And now that we're trying to go green, I just get a statement off the computer. And I don't have a recent one because I delete all my old emails. They're pretty hilarious. I mean, I get a BMI statement in North America, which is broadcast music, right? And the BMI statement has all my songs on it from when I was going to be a rock star. And it's really broken down fantastically. What's the German Airlines? Lufthansa?
Yeah.
Somebody put one of our songs, rock and roll songs, on the Lufthansa loop. So 1 month last year, when you went on Lufthansa to fly around Europe, there was a Long Rider song I had a piece of. And so you look to the right, and it'll literally say something like you get, £6, or in the States, it's like $6.18 or whatever. And it's the same thing over here. I get a bug music statement 4 times a year. I'm sorry I didn't bring one in. They come down off the computer now. I didn't have one to print out. And it'll say the most ridiculous things. It'll literally say like you got 90 pence. I mean like 90 pence because somebody played it in Tel Aviv. And I'm not making it up because I did have somebody play one of my songs once in Tel Aviv. Or twice because I think it's like 45 pence at the time in Israel. So I mean, I'm talking really broadly and really scattershot here, but you've got to have that taken care of. And there's a guy, my little girl goes to a wonderful state school here in North London, and I took her to a play date years ago with these people I knew were fairly well-to-do. And the guy next door to them was loaded. He owned the whole Georgian, like, 5-story building. And I said, how, just one guy lives there? He doesn't have a family or kids? It's kind of one guy. It seems awfully lonely. He's the guy that writes songs with Robbie Williams. His name's Guy something. Yeah, it's his house. And just think about it. I mean, it's just this huge Hampstead house. And I just thought, that is amazing. But think of the kind of money that a fellow like that gets. And he's not, to my understanding, a performer himself, right?
No,
He used to.
He used to be. But he's literally Robbie Williams' sort of songwriting partner /
He used to be.
Yeah, in fact.
Yeah, at the moment Robbie Williams turned shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all right, I'm going really quickly here. Well, another thing is, in my opinion, if you can get your foot in the door, no matter what happens, never sell the publishing. You can give some of it away for a deal, like 20% or 60% for a deal. Never give all of it away. I'll give you an example that didn't come true. I was at home goofing around about 6 or 7 years ago. And this deal didn't happen, but the phone rang, and it was the BBC. This sounds like I'm making this up. I swear to God this is true, King. And they were going to do a cooking show, and they wanted to use, I swear to God, hand on my heart, they wanted to use this rock and roll song of mine called Looking for Lewis and Clark as the theme of this cooking show, which makes no sense whatsoever because it's a raucous, noisy, out-of-tune rock and roll song. And I think it would be completely alienating to somebody who wanted to do fettuccine at home. It just made no sense. But they called back, and we did all this stuff, and they called back, and finally it fell through because Martin Clunes, or one of those guys, I think it was Clunes, couldn't do the show, and they couldn't get a good enough replacement, so it didn't happen. But that was a dead song. You follow me? Mm-hmm. A dead song that some people my age remember vaguely from the past, and if I play a show every once in a while, somebody shouts it out. But it's a dead song. Heaven forbid that I'd gotten rid of that song for a few £1,000s, and then years later it was part of a cookery show, particularly a cookery show that did well.
It's on every week.
Yeah, it was on every week. I mean,